Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining Utah Beer News for the latest in our one-on-one conversations with local brewers, breweries, and everyday imbibers. I'm Tim Herron, founder of Utah Beer News, and my guest today is Pete Saltis, publisher of Salt Lake City Weekly and the organizer of the upcoming 11th Utah Beer Festival. Welcome, Pete.
Thanks for having me on, Tim. This is the best day of my life. I always
Yeah,
appreciate being here.
yeah, you bet. Thanks for taking the time. I know it's a busy week for you. We had you on our audio podcast in 2019 to talk a little bit about what was then the upcoming 10th annual Utah Beer
Mhm.
Festival. And then the pandemic interrupted the event last year.
Yep.
But now in 2021, August 21st and 22nd to be exact, the Utah Beer Festival is back and
hmm
presumably better than ever. So before we get too far into specifics, could you give us a high level overview of what the Utah Beer Festival entails and
Sure.
just why it's such an important event each year?
Well, I'll tell you what, I do wish we were able to do this on site. In 2019, we did this at Red Rock, I believe. So, we had
Yeah.
had some drinks with us too. So that was fun. I think we all got kind of used to the virtual meetings. It makes things a lot easier. But I always miss the personal aspects of what we do. That's the City Weekly side coming out. We like to bring community together, and that's what we've done with the Beer Fest. That's what we do with our other events. So yeah, we got kind of rocked last year, I think, like most people. But for us, I mean, we do events, to kind of pay for good journalism in Utah. That's why we do what we do. So it has a community aspect to it that some other events do not, and that's nothing against those events. It's just we do things with a different purpose. So
Right.
being able to do the events is something that's extremely important to us, especially for continuing to do what we do on the City Weekly side. Um, so this event's no different, except unfortunately we're still in a pandemic. I
Yeah.
don't want to I don't want to belabor what's been going on the last almost 2 years now, but I think everybody knows it's not been easy for planning stuff like this. How do you navigate this safely and responsibly? And that's always on the back of my mind, and has been, especially the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That's my ultimate goal, is to have safe community events. So
Yeah. No, exactly. That's a great point. Before we get into the questions, can I ask you a favor? Maybe just tilt your mic down just a titch. There we go.
more
I
like
think
that right there.
there we go. That's perfect. Yeah, I got
All right.
pushed up a little bit there.
I've got a big face.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. So yeah, that's a great overview. And yeah, I wish we were together and having a few beers while
Yeah.
we talk about this, but we'll have plenty of beers this weekend. So let's
Yeah.
start with the nuts and bolts of the 2021 event, the location, times,
hmm
ticket availability, how many breweries you got, just whatever people might need to know about this year's event.
Yeah. So it's a change of location this year. The last 4 years we were at the Fair Park. This year we're back downtown at the Gateway. Again, for us, it's important to try to help out. I know, if downtown folks were kind of struggling this last year without conventions, without jazz games, without people in the office. Downtown got kind of hit harder than a lot of other places in Utah in terms of financial distress. So
Mhm.
again, these are all friends and family of mine. So it's like I want to try to do what I can to help their businesses out. So doing an event downtown, overflow before and after the event, will hopefully help the downtown businesses. So that was one of the reasons why we moved downtown. What you can expect this year at the event. It's our 11th annual, and so right now I think we have more beer tents than ever before. 64 beer tents.
Wow.
You'll see what you'll see is there's a lot of local beers stepped up and they're doing 2 tents. We usually do 4 brands per tent. So there's a lot of local brands that are doing a tent for their low point, a tent for high point. So it's a little different than like a mix within one brand. So we certainly appreciate those guys that are doing that. We also have a designated area, the beers, we're calling Beers of the World, where we're taking all those international beers and putting them inside some of those rooms at the Gateway, which they've allowed us to utilize to allow people to spread out more, which is one of our goals. Keep people. It's an outdoor event. We know that you could do those as safe as possible. Now without smoke in the air, but
Right. Yeah.
hopefully
Oh,
it's
by the
gone
way,
by
we'll throw
Friday.
a couple
Yeah,
fires in
yeah.
your path. So
Um, but we're blocked off First South, so there's a lot of room over there too. So we'll have some activities on First South. We'll have music over by the fountain, and then some of those buildings that are going to be open up. So we've got, like I said, Beers of the World in one of the buildings. We've got Salt Lake Barber is taking an area if people want to get, as my brother and I both go there for getting our hair cut, and I went a little too long during COVID without getting it cut, so we just had the idea of having them come to an event. That's where I met those guys, was at Givestock at Gallivan a few years ago. So I was like, there's probably a lot of people like me that could use a trim.
Yeah, for
at
sure.
an event,
Yeah.
Mountain West Cider's taking a room where they're gonna they've got a little room on Rio Grande right there where they're gonna be doing a meet and greet with one of the bands, the Pickpockets, on Saturday, and then obviously they're gonna be pouring their ciders out of there. And then Ogden's Own has a room for some of his canned cocktails.
Wow.
So a little bit, we're adding some canned cocktails this year. So it's not going to be purely beer. I think this year you're going to see a lot of seltzers. Those were pretty big last year, but we didn't have an event last year. I think 2019, I think the only seltzers we had were like White Claw and Truly or something. And now we've got like 20 something brands. Roja's got their Gemini, Epic has Paca. So we've got a few of the locals with their own lines of seltzers now. So I think that's going to be the biggest jump in styles.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. A lot of local guys have been doing seltzers, so that's great.
Yeah, so that's something that you're going to see a lot of this year. And then, we've got music all day, Saturday and Sunday. And then this year, what we did was also started like a pre-party. We're doing an official pre-party at the Depot, just a concert. We got Talia Keys, the Mojave Nomads, and then the Painted Roses over at the Depot on Friday night.
Wow. Yeah. Cool. And I guess I should mention, we're going to go through a lot of details, but if anybody wants specifics, like this week's City Weekly, it's a beer issue and it has everything, all of your questions answered about the event. Like I mentioned, August 21st and 22nd, and it's from like 2 to 8. Are those the hours?
Yep, 2 to 8. And again, a little different than what we've done in the past. In the last 4 years, we had, if you remember, the RFID wristband systems. Those are pretty nice for people to load up. We're always, we don't like a lot of lines at our event, and that made it easy for people that registered in advance, put some tokens on, and just get ready to come in and go. This year we're going back, just wanted to simplify because those required a lot of volunteers, and we know that with staffing and everything that'd be a little difficult to put a bunch of people together in like one little tent. So with the token system, we're having little passports so people can just scan their ticket in exchange for a passport and go. So we're trying to minimize a lot of that person-to-person contact as much as possible. So, which is probably for the better anyway. You'll notice a very simplified version of the Beer Fest this year, which should make it a lot easier for people to just come in and know what's going on. And not to rehash why a lot of events in Utah have to do a token system, but it does make it is unique in that respect. If people are going to other beer fests out of state where they can do all you can drink, we cannot do that in Utah. So for those that are listening for the first time that just moved here in the last year, that's that's why we have to use token systems.
Right.
We want to do an all you can drink, but cannot.
Right. So with the passport, then if that's included in your ticket price, and you get a certain number of beer punches, I guess, and then each beer is a certain punch amount, I guess,
just
depending
based on the cost of the beer that we have.
Yeah. Okay. And you just take that right up to the beer tent and they do it right there. Or do you exchange? Because I know, like you said, in the past, you've had an exchange ticket for wristband, but now it's just your ticket.
Yep. So we'll have somebody there ready with a little hole puncher, just ready to go. And then when you're done, we have we're calling them like little refill passports. So you just exchange your actual passport for refills and you're good to go. But each ticket is also a UTA Tracks pass. We want people to come, as safe as possible, leave as safe as possible. So free pass on any UTA Tracks, train, or front runner.
Man.
Bus.
Twice. Oh no, that's and that's such a good perk too. I mean, especially right there in the gateway, like the track stop is right next to it, so there's really no excuse to not take public transportation. So and how about some beer highlights? Anything you're particularly excited about? Any you mentioned that each brewery, a lot of the breweries are going to have more than one tent this year. How about just any highlights that you can think of that you're particularly excited about?
So my brother's the one that did a lot of the beer orders, but I'm just looking at the brands that are going to be there. We've got, let's see, so like Grid City, I was excited to see them come. They opened up during the pandemic last year, real nice guys. So I think we have like 5 or 6 brands, whether they're local or regional, that'll be here for the first time, which I'm always excited about. That's one of the key things that I like about the Beer Fest is a lot of people come to this market and launch their brands at our event. So those are the ones that I'm going to go check out just because they haven't been to the event before. Want to make sure they have a good first experience. As far as a single brand, I haven't actually seen our beer list yet. That's what I'm going to do after this call is go
Okay.
through our beer order.
It'll be a
But
surprise. Yeah.
yeah. But that's my brother would be the one to ask on that because he's been the one working with all of the vendors, so he knows what people are bringing. I just know who's coming.
Yeah. But I
But
mean,
I
we're
always look
talking,
for that, Tim. Those are my
we're,
favorite is the people that come for the first time or launch a new brand, whether they've been here
yeah.
and in the market or whatever for 30 years. Those are the ones I like. I like when they launch new things at our event.
Yeah. And we're talking like 200, 250 different beers.
Yeah.
And it's just, and it's going to be cool too, I think, at the Gateway. It was cool at other locations, but the Gateway, I think, just has kind of that urban feel to it a little bit.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like you're in a downtown environment type thing.
Right.
So it's
Right.
kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
we've always liked to be in downtown. Our first 6 were downtown, City and County Building, Gallivan, Library Square. So
yeah.
downtown is kind of home for us for sure. So
Yeah.
we like it.
Cool. You touched on a little bit of what else is happening at the festival, but I know you said live music each night. There's going to be
Hmm.
some bands playing. Got some vendors coming out. It sounds like
Hmm.
barbers on
Barbers. Yep.
site, so that's cool. The VIP lounge. Maybe talk a little bit about what's going on in the VIP lounge this year.
Yeah. The VIP lounge, I mean, I know that there's some issues with restaurants and staffing and stuff, so it's going to be a little bit different this year. So we're going to have a head chef in charge, and it's going to be like a catered model, instead of booths lining up with the actual proprietors of those restaurants like we've done this year since they have to stay at their own restaurant, which I understand completely. They're bringing it, and we're going to have like a chef in charge of actually dishing everything out. So it's going to be not so much like it timed like at 1 o'clock you're going to get this sample, and at 2 o'clock you're going to get this. We're going to have like it's from 2 to 6:30, and then we're going to have at like a almost like a long dinner. Appetizers will be released from 2 to 3:30, and then like the heavier portions from 3:30 to 5, and then desserts after that. So
Okay.
it'll be kind of grab and go as people come in and out, and that'll give people a little bit more flexibility instead of like I remember one year we had portions every hour on the hour for 6 hours. That's a long day for an attendee while
Oh
they're
yeah,
also drinking beer. So this we kind of shortened it a little bit, but it's a little bit
sure.
more structured like an actual dinner. And then the beers will be the same kind of thing we've done in the past. So those will be beers that'll be represented on the main grounds, except they're going to have an exclusive beer in the VIP thing that they're not serving in the general admission area.
Oh, very cool. And where is that located at the Gateway?
So right behind the like the Olympic Fountain stage area is the old Sur La Table building.
Okay.
I think the business that's there now is Tresser Jewelers, or
Okay.
next to it. I mean, so it's just right there on right when you come down the stairs into that fountain area,
Okay.
right by the
Cool.
stage.
Very
Mhm.
cool. And where's the main entrance? Where are people supposed to go to get in to the festival?
So main entrances will be on First South. If you're on First South, coming east or west, you can get in there. If you come on the south side of the gateway on Rio Grande, you can enter there.
Okay.
The stairs that go into the fountain area will be closed, but there's the escalator right there. We're gonna have a fence along that side, and then the Rio Grande on the north side, 50 North, will have an entrance too.
Hmm.
So about four entrances plus like if you park in the parking garage right there, there's an escalator that comes out of the parking garage on the north parking structure, and there'll
Okay.
be an entrance right there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Plenty of places to get in. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Now I know a 2-day festival has got to be quite the undertaking. What are the
Yeah.
advantages of spreading it out over the course of a weekend?
Well, I mean, we have over 250 beers there. So if you're trying to try a lot of beers, you can't do that in a day.
Yeah.
Not now, frankly, I don't really get to try any of the beers until after the event. So I haven't tried doing a marathon at our event, but I don't see that that's possible.
Right.
So in terms of truly sampling it, you do need the 2 days. And what we've noticed we started doing 2 days in 2017 when we started adding more and more brewers. The 2-day weekend pass is becoming one of our more and more popular ticket types I can just see that. I mean, we sell more and more of those every year.
Yeah.
So I imagine this year will be no different when it's all said and done. But right now, we're already above 2019's 2-day ticket passes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's just a trend that we want to keep on top of. I know it's difficult for people to do both, if they're helping out, but if we sell more beer, then I think that's everybody's goal, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the brewers coming. So I hope so anyway. But that's what I'm seeing is people are recognizing that they cannot go through all those samples in a single day, nor do I want them. As an organizer, that's the last thing I want. Like I said, we want to keep people safe. So
right. Yeah. You want people to have a good time, but this
yeah.
was a place where to really enjoy the craft and enjoy what these brewers are putting into their product and enjoying the taste of it. So
I think the people like the true beer connoisseurs, I guess, they're the ones that I think that we're targeting for the 2-day passes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it might be cool too for people who are maybe outside of the Salt Lake area to come in, because, there's so many breweries now within the Salt Lake area that to have them all in one place over a weekend, that gives you an opportunity if you're, come up for the weekend and be able to taste a lot of different beers from a lot of different breweries without jumping all over the place, which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing. We'll have Visit Salt Lake there and they do their beer passes. So that's part of the reason why they support our event, because they do have their I mean, it's a targeted beer pass for people that are coming in for conventions. And so they're going to be promoting that there, which we're 100% on board with. So, keep these breweries visible when people come into town. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. In addition to the great craft beer, Utah Beer Festival attendees are also supporting through their tickets a great cause. Over the years, you guys have donated thousands of dollars to worthy nonprofits. And can you talk a little bit about who's benefiting this year? Because I'm all in favor of it.
Yeah. So over the past 10 years, we've always had, I guess this was the 11th. Anyway, we've had a charitable aspect with our event. We've done Local First Utah was like the first 2 or 3. The Humane Society, we've done, that was the longest running one. I think we partnered with them for like 5 years. And then the last little bit, it's a nonprofit that, my dad founded. It's called the Galena Fund. So there's a board of advisors. They're related to Copperfield, but they're not part of Copperfield. But it's a nonprofit that focuses on journalism and journalists in Utah. It's not it's not catered just to City Weekly. Our first donation was actually last year, because we've been doing events like this for a while. Last year was a good opportunity for us to kind of promote it more and, get people to actually learn about it, what we do. So our first donation last year was actually to the Catalyst. We haven't touched anything on that bank account, but it was, we saw that they reached out, they needed some help last year. So we donated to that. So that's what Galena Fund is for. Basically journalists can, come to the Galena Fund and say, hey, I want to write about Bears Ears. And then the board of advisors would say, okay, what do you need for that? It has to be like, print, digital, audio, some, a multifaceted approach to, writing a story if we're approached with it. Or they can say, hey, we want to write about, the topic du jour, and then, seek out a journalist for that, or support local journals directly like we did last year with Catalyst. So, that's what the Galena Fund is. So that's who's going to be the main beneficiary this year. And then, we'll make some additional donations for some of the volunteer groups. One of them, just our culture wise, we get a bunch of the Greek kids to come volunteer, so we do a donation to them for their dance groups, for their cultural stuff. So again, that's kind of City Weekly's focus is arts, culture, and entertainment. So we've got a few other people that we're going to be donating to this year as well. So
nice. Yeah, I'm sure the past 18 months have not been the most fun for you guys, but you're such an important part of this community. I'm glad you guys are still around, and looking forward to the Utah Beer Festival as the biggest beer event in Utah, right? Is that
Yeah, biggest.
Yeah.
I call it the biggest sampling event. The biggest beer event as a whole is probably Oktoberfest, but they get like 3 months, so
right?
that's not fair.
Exactly.
But on
Yeah.
a single day, I think any given Saturday, we're probably right up there with them.
Yeah.
Our Saturday we get about 65% of our attendees than we do on Sunday. But it is funny because it's like the Sunday people, they're there all day. So it's like in terms of like the beer moved, it's pretty equal.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we get about 6,500 people on our Saturday event. So I'm
Wow.
hoping more people come on Sunday, spread that out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before I let you go, as someone who's seen 10 of these, what are one or two insider tips for people going to the Utah Beer Festival that can really help them get the most out of the experience?
Sure. So again, with the passport system, we kind of take to heart lines. If you've been to all 10, you know how bad some of the lines have gotten.
Yeah.
So get your tickets in advance, swap them out for the passports. We'll have those ready. Unfortunately, everything that we've done, like everything's getting backed up in terms of supply chain. So I have our Saturday GA passes in the office right now, but not any of the other ones. So I'm a little nervous, but I will be fine. But we'll
Still
have them
plenty of
ready.
hours.
Yeah, exactly. So we're anticipating having all of the passports available tomorrow. So at the City Weekly office, you can come down and get your passports in advance. And I always recommend having those ready to go before you come to the event, because then you don't have to wait in that first line. You've already done the swap. It's less stressful if you're doing it at our office or at like a brewery where we're looking to partner up with, getting a ticket swap party there. That's the biggest thing this year, because we got rid of the wristbands. You don't have that other aspect of like getting a wristband, putting it on, swapping it. It's just passports. So
Yeah.
there's that. Two is, like I said, we've got a lot of new breweries coming. So I like when people come early, because then there's always like a hot time of like 4 to 6 o'clock. So if you get there early, you can kind of get to those more popular places before other people do. When we like people there that are there all day, whatever. But
Yeah.
getting there early, getting your passports ready, and having like a plan of attack. And we'll have that with the pocket guide too, and we'll be putting our map up online, so you can kind of see where people are, and so you can kind of have like a game plan when you come in.
Mhm.
You'll see where your favorites are, so you can always go back to them if you want to just have like a tried and true, and then you'll see where the new brands are that you haven't tried, and just kind of walking through it that way. Now that's the beauty of being at the Gateway. There's only one street. You're not going to get lost.
Right.
But if you're just kind of shooting from the hip, it can be difficult. You want to make sure you want to try some of the stuff that you haven't tried before.
Exactly. Very cool. I think we covered it all. Anything that we didn't touch on that you think is important for this weekend?
I think we're good. I think I certainly appreciate you having me on, and saying kudos back to you on what you do on supporting this industry, because it's what makes our city cool. Having cool breweries, having cool bars that support those breweries, having cool restaurants that support them too. Like,
Yeah.
It's and then having people like you that kind of shout them out is awesome. I think it should always come with a big thank you. So
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's fun. It's been great to see the growth over the last few years, and it's always fun to get together in a festival environment. So we haven't had those for a while. It'll be nice to get back at it.
Yeah. So, I'm excited. I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Pete. And again, the Utah Beer Festival is set for August 21st and 22nd, 2021. It's the 11th annual. And yeah, thanks again. And we'll see you at the Gateway.
Right on. We'll see you there.
Okay.
Cheers.